Welcome to a special edition of the Gridiron Report, brought to you by Red Raider Outfitter, the fans' favorite since 1975. I'm Jared Johnson. I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager. Well, mighty Joe, we are getting really close to Texas Tech football season kicking off. They kick off the season September 2nd at Wyoming, of course, but fall camp's coming up, local media day, all that, and boy, it's just a snap of the fingers till kickoff after that gets going. And we thought we'd break down like we do pretty much every offseason. The team, position group by position group, and why not start with the quarterbacks, Monty Joe? So your take, obviously Tyler Shuck was named the starter, which came as no surprise, but some pretty interesting names or interesting group in terms of overall from Texas Tech's quarterback position.
Yeah, I guess the exciting thing, well, there's two exciting things. Number one, I doubt that there are many teams in the country that have a better sort of 1-2 quarterback situation than Texas Tech does. I mean, Baron Morton and Tyler Shuck, that's look, Baron Morton's a starting caliber quarterback at the Power 6 level. So not too many quarterback rooms in the country have that sort of talent, 1 and 2. Which is a bit of a relief and a security blanket for, everybody on the offensive side of the ball, including head coach Joey McGuire. That's a really big deal right there. And I mean, Shuck, what's good about him is just the way he finished last season. He finally began to live up to a lot of the hype that was surrounding him when he came in from Oregon. And, he looked like the real deal. He's like, if he can play an entire season, stay healthy and play the way he did those last several games after he came back from injury, then he's a guy who's going to be in the running for first team all Big 12 quarterback. I mean, he was playing at that sort of a level. So now obviously he's got to do it for the entire season. Easier said than done. I think at least it's possible.
I think the most impressive part of Tyler's performance during that 4-game winning streak when he came back was the grit he showed. I think that was a big question. He had been injured. Those were serious injuries. One was untouched, actually, the first one, where he just dove in the end zone and broke his clavicle. And then, he got hurt. I mean, he got hurt in both instances, but and it was such a big setback. And then his first snap back last season was a pick six against Baylor, and which was just a debacle of a game where the Bears really dominated. But then he came back. They beat Kansas, which was huge. Kansas had a much better season. And then they went to Iowa State. Freezing weather. Iowa State really needed that win for their bowl chances and all that. Tough place to play. Historically, at least recently, that's a game Texas Tech loses. But when the Red Raiders, first off, they played great defense. And second of all, when they needed a drive to win, Shuck and Zach Kidley, the offensive coordinator, and the whole team, they engineered the drive they needed. They got the points. They got the win. And then impressive comeback against Oklahoma to round out the regular season when you're down 17 points early. You win in overtime. That's a lot of grit. And then he wasn't done. He goes into the bowl game and carries the ball, 25 times or something crazy like that, and against a physical team that was playing, quite honestly, a little dirty. There was at least 2 or 3 after the whistle calls, and I think there could have been at least 2 or 3 more. And he got up and kept going and kept running over. Zach Kidley kept calling his number, and he was MVP of the Texas Bowl, which was a big win and a great way to go into the offseason for Texas Tech, and is a big part of the reason for optimism. I think Shuck's performance, there's a lot more that went into it, but Shuck's performance and elevating the team and them going on that winning streak really was the season. That ended up being the story of the season when it was all said and done. In talking with Tyler, he's excited about. First off, this is the first time in his career, which is really surprising because it's his 6th season, that he's had the same offensive coordinator for consecutive offseasons and consecutive seasons. I mean, that's hard to do. If you're bouncing around, a lot of these schemes are similar, but there's different terminology and different tweaks. To have the same offensive coordinator is huge. I mean, you see that in the NFL where it takes like 4 years for a quarterback to really get an offense down and start clicking. So everything is laid out there for Shuck to have a monster year. And if, like you said, something happens, which nobody wants to see happen, of course, but if he gets hurt, you got Baron Morton, who is a uber talented dude who looked great in spring. He's added some good weight. Whenever the ball gets turned over to him, look out, because it's going to be really exciting. And you got young Jake Strong waiting in the wings there, the true freshman who gets to develop. So just a really healthy situation there with offensive coordinator and QB coach Zach Kitley that he's fostered with the quarterback. And you got Will Hammond coming in too, and some other guys in the mix that'll be interesting. I think we'll be talking about in fall camp, but some walk-ons, some really good athletes. At least one guy I'm really excited about that we'll talk about later on, probably, like I said, in fall camp. But for now, Monty Joe, great stuff from you as always. Thank y'all for watching, and until next time.